What's up, world? I'm gonna talk to you about an album that came out when I was a teenager. I still listen to it to this day. It makes me think about being a teenager all the time when I listen to it. But I actually discovered this album using Shazam on a Cadillac commercial. It was the song 1901. The album is Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix by Phoenix. And when I heard this song, I remember thinking, this sounds similar to the Strokes, but whereas the Strokes kind of had an old school feel to their music, old school garage rock, I guess, the Phoenix sounded new or futuristic even. And I was like, it had this electric neon sound to it. So I was really intrigued by that, and I definitely wanted to hear more of this band. And they actually have a large back catalog, so that was really awesome. You also might have heard the song Too Young in Shallow Hal, which I didn't know them or even catch on to that song until after I heard this album. So around the time that I was getting into music production is also the same time that this album came out and came into my life, and it still influences the way that I write songs today, the overall sound that I go for with my songs, and I've even sampled drums to use as drums that on drum machine parts that I do. So the drums, I think, in general, are the best part of this album. They're just really unique, and they make it a total danceable album. Also, part of the influence that it had on me is I used to write these really sad songs that I thought were artistic. I don't like listening to those songs now. What this album I feel like did to my songwriting is that I wanted to make songs that put a smile on people's face or made them dance. And then seeing some of the songs on this album have a sad part or sound kind of sad at specific parts, and it's still really danceable or really uplifting, and it sounds happy. The vocal melodies are really important because the lyrics on the album, to me at least, don't make much sense at all. I actually read an interview with Thomas Mars, the singer, and he said that the song 1901 is about Paris. Never ever would have guessed that. But they're from France, so that makes sense too. But the melodies and the rhythm of the way he sings is also something that I've tried to incorporate into my music. Most of the lyrics also don't rhyme on this album, which is unique because that's not popular on songs you hear in the radio. For these guys to have gotten as big as they did, and still are, I guess, is really kind of unique because none of their lyrics make much sense or rhyme. The first three songs on the album are really great, but then it gets to the interlude, Love Like a Sunset. It's a 2-part song, and it's simple yet really intense. It has a lot of cool synthesizer arpeggiated parts going on, but the guitars just building the intensity throughout the whole first part. And visually, what this song does for me, because there's no lyrics to this one, in part one I kind of visualize myself in an X-Wing from Star Wars, waiting on a landing strip, getting ready for my cue that I have to fly off into war or whatever, and I'm waiting, and the sun is setting, and then there's this breakdown and confusion, and then the intensity builds again, But then at the end of part one, the whole song melts. That's the only way I can describe it. And then when part two comes back, it's like the sun coming out, and it's like everything is being rebuilt around you in a peaceful manner, and it's almost like waking up from a hypnosis and realizing like that war from part one never had to take place, and it was not productive in the first place. And this is just visually like what I see. It has nothing to do with like real life. But my favorite song from the album is the highly sing-along friendly Lasso. That one is the only song where I think the lyrics do kind of make sense. The drums, again, are just out of this world. It's not that it's not like the drummer is Neil Peart or like Travis Barker. He's not a virtuoso, I wouldn't say, but just the way that the fills have little details, and they're doing things that you don't hear in many songs at all. So it's really unique, and that's something that I also try to incorporate whenever I'm programming drum parts on the computer. I also really like the song Armistice. It's the last song on the album, and I don't feel like it sounds like a last song kind of song, but whatever. I think it sounds more like a lead single. I think it, honestly, I know it was a single at one point, I think, but I think it should have been the lead single instead of 1901, which is a great song, but it's just like not even close to the best song on the album. Overall, this is probably my favorite pop album. It has these indie garage rock sounding guitars, but the drums and the bass are almost like house music, and that was a really unique sound at the time. It still is today, but it has influenced some people, and I think that they do have house music influences as well. The bass player actually had a band with the guys from Daft Punk before they were Daft Punk and before Phoenix existed. And Daft Punk has a song called Phoenix as well. But if you like this album, another similar band is the Royal Concept. I think they're great. They have some good songs. Did a Dance and Gimme Twice. I like both of those songs. And then also a newer band, Superorganism. They're really, really good, and they released a full-length album that's hella catchy. It's got great vibes to it, and just generally it's fun music to listen to. I definitely would say this album is fun. 10 out of 10 fun to listen to. So I thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys check in tomorrow as well for day 6. And thank you so much. I hope you have a big old smile on your face. See you later.